and at all events, it is impossible for those who believe in the truth of Christianity as a divine revelation to doubt that it is the especial duty of government to foster and encourage it among all the citizens and subjects. They're not endorsing a state religion, and state, by religion I'm referring to state denomination. The issue that occurred in England that caused the Pilgrims and Puritans to come to this land was because a state denomination had been established, and that was the thing that they were wanting to discourage, not discouraging Christianity, because they recognized that that was the source of their freedom, but forcing people to have to belong to a particular denomination was what they were concerned about. My next witness, James Wilson, a signer of the Constitution and another U.S. Supreme Court Justice. Human law must rest its authority ultimately upon the authority of that law which is divine. Again, that goes back to, if the law is not consistent with the principles of the Bible, it is not a good law. Far from being rivals or enemies, religion and law are twin sisters, friends and mutual assistants. Indeed, these two sciences run into each other. They're inextricably intertwined, religion and law, where you have appropriate laws. Another witness we're calling, John Witherspoon, a signer of the Declaration of Independence. Nothing is more certain, nothing, than that a general profligacy and corruption of manners make a people ripe for destruction. A good form of government may hold the rotten materials together for some time, but beyond a certain pitch, even the best constitution will be ineffectual. Whoever is an avowed enemy of God, I scruple not to call him an enemy to his country. Now, scruple is not a word that we use all that often. It's, I don't hesitate to call him an enemy to his country. So whoever is an avowed enemy of God, I don't hesitate to call him an enemy to his country. Noah Webster, revolutionary soldier, educator, and attorney. The moral principles and precepts contained in the Scriptures ought to form the basis of all our civil constitutions and laws. The moral principles and precepts contained in the Scriptures ought to form the basis of all our civil constitutions and laws. All the miseries and evils which suffer from vice, crime, ambition, injustice, oppression, slavery, and war proceed from their despising or neglecting the precepts contained in the Bible. Pretty plain. For my next witness, I call Robert Windrow, a signer of the Declaration. Men, in a word, must necessarily be controlled either by a power within them or by either by the word of God or by the strong arm of men or man, either by the Bible or the bayonet. That power within comes from God. And when you have that, you have that morality, that constraint to keep you from doing that which is wrong. But you remove that, and in order to control people, you have to have more laws and you have to have more control. When you have those utopias like there were in Nazi Germany and USSR and Communist China, they have to have lots of soldiers with guns on the streets to make sure that you do what you're supposed to do. Because that's where the control is. They're the ones who are deciding what is right, because God has been removed from the scene and his morality has been removed.
Don't forget North Korea, too.
North Korea, there are lots of examples. There are lots of examples. And I think we're wrapping up here. Alexis de Tocqueville. Anybody hear of him?
Not really.
He came along. He was in France. He was an aristocratic French political thinker and historian. Came over to the United States, I think it was in the 1830s, or wrote his book in the 1830s, because he came to find out what was this democracy in America. And in that book he wrote, "Religion in America takes no direct part in the government of society." So there's no formal church input into the government, but it must be regarded as the first of their political institutions. Those institutions that are designed to improve the morals of the people. For if it does not impart a taste for freedom, it facilitates the use of it. Indeed, it is in this same point of view that the inhabitants of the United States themselves look upon religious belief. I do not know whether all Americans have a sincere faith in their religion, for who can search the human heart? But I am certain that they hold it to be indispensable to the maintenance of Republican institutions. So it wasn't just the founders themselves, but when he went around the country, this is what he observed where he went. This opinion is not peculiar or unique to a class of citizens or a party, but it belongs to the whole nation and to every rank of society. It was inbred, ingrained in us. I rest my case. Now it is up to you, the jury, to decide. Now, these were not the only quotes that were available. I think there were quite a few to let you know that it wasn't just one or two people who held to this opinion. So the original question was, what is required in order to ensure good government, political prosperity, and national well-being? Any thoughts? Virtuous people. Morality. Religion. So, should religion be removed from politics?
No.
Well, we've gotten the testimony of a multitude of our founding fathers who said that it was indispensable for good government, for political prosperity and the happiness of the people. And we've seen examples of where religion has been removed from politics. And I dare say that I could probably challenge us to try to think of a place where there is a government that is godless, that is a free people. Because I think there generally aren't too many. Western Europe kind of comes to mind, but they're so socialistic now as they move away from God, and I think that's the direction in which they will be heading too. So if we do